Mabuhay, this is Bob from Love Beyond the Sea. This is my first video on my new phone. It's an iPhone 15, so I don't know if it will look any different, but we will find out. My channel is about marriage to a woman from the Philippines. Essentially, it's about marriage. However, my wife is from the Philippines, and that's quite a bit different from somewhere else. So this short video I want to make is something I talk about now and then, but not enough. I'm going to call this the tie that binds, and it's going to be briefly talking about what happens when two people get married. And one Bible verse I can use, Mark 10 verse 9, is probably mentioned elsewhere. What God has joined together, let no one separate. The key thing here is what God has joined together. So I can tell you that when you when you get married, like we did back in 2015, it's not the state that binds you together. It's not you. It's not your wife. It's not the family. It's not the principal sponsors. It's not the guests on the wedding list. They don't bind you together. And it's God who binds two people to get together when they get a legal marriage. And normally that involves vows that you make to each other. And so I just can't say enough. We really need to take it seriously that when we were married, we didn't just make the choice to live with somebody, someday and have legal sex. No, it's a binding relationship. God has joined you together. How can you get unjoined? Well, there's only two verses mentioned in the Bible. One would be through adultery, and you don't have to divorce a spouse for adultery. You're not obligated to. It's not a mandate. You try to work things out, which I think you should try to do, because you always have to forgive. And then another one is if an unbelieving spouse leaves you, divorces you, you don't have to think that you have to stay alone the rest of your life. You're free to remarry, and I know not everybody believes the same thing here. So there are a couple of ways out, but we should never look for a way out, because when we're married, God has bound us together. And as many of you know, when that relationship ends, you can't just easily move on. Why? Because you were joined together. It's like, ripping half of your body apart. There's going to be a lot of blood. There's going to be a lot of pain. God has joined us together. In Genesis, it talks about we have become one flesh when we are married. And you rip apart one flesh and separate it, that's going to be awfully painful. So if you get married someday, and I always say here that you should want to get married, the Bible calls it the grace of life in 1 Peter 3:7. Just remember that, if it's a legal marriage, God has bound you together, joined you together, stuck you together. And so it's in your best interest, both of you, to do everything you possibly can to stay together. So that's all I'm going to have for this one. It's a very powerful point in a short video. Please leave comments here and subscribe. I think one of the reasons I've not been getting any views or subs on YouTube is I've got to take the TikTok watermark off. I'll just, just forward the same video before it gets to TikTok, and it won't have the watermark, and things should start growing over there. But I'm appreciative of all the people on TikTok that are watching and leaving comments. Please leave a comment on this one here today on Love Beyond the Sea.